Your test, right? Your test tomorrow is over 2, 4, 2, 6, 2, 7, 2, 8. You're going to have one or two of each kind of problem, all right? You're going to have, I think it's 10 questions, but there's little different parts to different things. So just make sure you understand how to do everything, what the question's asking, all that sort of thing. So the first thing we're going to talk about is average rate of change and net change. Remember, your average rate of change, I'm going to say ROC, is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, all right? That's your average rate of change. Your net change is just the y's. You guys remember that? Everybody okay with that? So your average rate of change is y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. Your net change is just the y's themselves. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say, all right, the first x value they gave me is -3. And when I plug -3 in, what do I get out? The second x value they gave me is +2. When I plug that in, what do I get out? So we're going to evaluate first. I have -6 times -3 squared plus 7. So -3 squared is 9, right? 6 times 9 is what? -54 plus 7. What's -54 plus 7? All right, -47. So when I plug in -3, I get out -47. So now the second thing I'm going to do is evaluate with 2. So I have -6 times 2 squared plus 7. What's 2 squared? 4. 4 times -6 is -24 plus 7. What's -24 plus 7?
-17.
-17. -17. So now I'm going to take y2 minus y1. So I have -17 minus, that doesn't look like -17. -17 minus -47. Agreed? Yes or no, guys?
Yeah.
Over 2 minus -3. A lot of you on your quiz messed up on signs here. When I have two negatives, what does that give me? A positive. So it's -17 plus 47. It's 47 minus 17. What does that give me?
33.
What is it?
Wait, never mind.
47 minus 17.
27.
7 minus 7 is 0. 4 minus 1 is 3, right?
30. My
so
bad.
30. That's okay. So 30. And then 2 minus a negative. That means 2 plus 3, which is 5. So right now, you can tell me that my net change was how much?
6.
No, net change. Just the y's. Is 30. And your average rate of change, 30 divided by 5, is 6. Remember, your net change is just the y's, and your average rate of change is the y divided by the x. Questions? Okay, same thing on the second one. They gave me two x values. They told me my first x value to use is -2. So when I plug in -2, let's see what I get out. My second x value is +4. When I plug in 4, let's see what I get out. So I have -4 times -2 plus 7. What's -4 times -2? +8. And 8 plus 7 is 15. So when I plug in -2, I get out +15. Next, I'm going to plug in 4. So -4 times 4 plus 7. -16 plus 7. What's -16 plus 7?
-9.
-9. So I'm going to do my average rate of change and my net change. It's y2, so -9 minus 15 over 4 minus -2. -9 minus 15 is how much? What's 15 plus 9?
-24.
-24 over 4 minus a -4 plus 2 is 6. So what's my
6.
net change?
-24.
-24. What is my average rate of change? What's -24 divided by 6?
-4.
-4. Good. Questions on that, guys? All right, next thing we're going to talk about is transformations. Very easily, I told you guys, all you have to do is draw arrows and point. That's all you got to do. So write down the question, then you say working from left to right. If I have a negative sign that's inside my parentheses, that's going to be a reflection over y. If it was outside the parenthesis out in front, it would be over x. I have a 1, 6 that's stuck in here with the x. You would think that's going to be a shrink, but it's actually the opposite since it's with the x. It's a horizontal, what?
It's a horizontal stretch.
Stretch, good. These two, the negative and the 1, 6 are two different things. A lot of you guys messed that up on the quiz. You kept it all together, so make sure they're two separate things. Then I have a plus 3. It's inside with the x. Plus usually means right or up. Since it's with the x, it's the opposite of what we think. Our x-axis is the horizontal axis, so this is really going to go left 3. And then this minus 1 here means down 1. Questions? We should be able to move through those pretty quickly. On this one, I have a negative on the outside. That means it's going to reflect over where? Over the x. Good. Then I have a 2 out in front. That's a vertical stretch. Some of you just put stretch or compression. I didn't give you full points because I need to know if you know it's vertical or horizontal. Moving along inside, there's nothing in front of the x or anything, but I have this minus 1 and it's with the x. So that means it's going to move right 1. And then this plus 3, all by itself at the end, means we're going to go up 3. Okay? Okay, again, left to right. I come to a negative that's out in front. That's going to give me a reflection over what?
Over x.
Over x, good. I have a 3 halves. Yes, that's a fraction, but 3 over 2. Is that bigger or smaller than 1?
Bigger.
It's bigger, so that's going to be a vertical stretch. I have a negative inside with the x. That's going to reflect over where?
Over y.
Over y, good. I have a 1/2 here that's with the x. I would think it's a horizontal compression, but since it's with the x, I know it's the opposite, so this is a horizontal stretch. And then I have nothing else at the end. I'm not adding or subtracting, so we're not moving anything up or down. I don't have anything inside that I'm adding or subtracting. I'm not moving left or right. Questions over that? All right, let's talk about odd, even, neither. Algebraically, guys, I told you I wanted you to use numbers. So those of you who use Mathway and just gave me the answers just from whatever Mathway said, I did not give you any credit. I told you guys that 100 times. Make sure you're using numbers like I'm showing you. If I think a function is even, when I algebraically work this out with numbers, my answers are going to be the same. If I think my function is odd, when I work this out algebraically, then my answers will be opposites of each other. Same absolute value, just different signs. And neither, they have nothing to do with one another. So the first thing I do is identify the highest exponent I see. The highest exponent I see is a 2. That's an even number. So this is either going to be even or neither. Use any number bigger than 1. I'm going to use 2 and negative 2. So I have negative 2, positive 2. If I think this is even, then my number should be the same when I get down here. So I have 12 minus 5 times negative 2 squared. Evaluate parentheses first. Negative 2 squared is 4. So I have 12 minus 20. And 12 minus 20 gives me negative 8. So over here I'm going to plug in positive 2. So 12 minus 5 times 2 squared. 2 squared is 4. 4 times 2 is 20. So 12 minus 20 gives me negative 8. Are negative 8 and negative 8 the same? Yes? So this function is even. If you just left it and told me that they're the same, okay, great. But you have to tell me if it's even, odd, or neither. So if you just told me they were the same, I took off some points. So coming over here, identify the highest exponent you see. That's an odd number. So this is either going to be odd or neither. If it is an odd function, then I know my answers are going to be opposite of each other. So I'm going to plug in negative 2 and positive 2 again. Again, you can use any number you want. I just always use negative 2, positive 2. So negative 2 times negative 2 cubed plus 3. Well, negative 2 cubed is negative 8. Negative 8, negative 2 is 16. Plus 3 gives me 19. So over here, I'm going to plug in positive 2. So I have positive 2. Negative 2 times 2 cubed plus 3. 2 cubed is 8. And 8 times 2 is what? Negative 16 plus 3 gives me negative 13. Are those two exact opposites of each other?
No.
No. So then this function would be what, Nino?
Neither.
Perfect. Good. All right, moving on. Highest exponent I see is a 2. That means this is either going to be even or neither. If I think it's even, my answers will be the same. Again, I'm going to use negative 2 and positive 2. So 2 times negative 2 squared minus 3 times negative 2 plus 4. Negative 2 squared is 4, so 4 times 2 is 8. Negative 3 and negative 2 is positive 6 plus 4. 8 and 6 is 14 plus 4 gives me 18. Now when I plug in positive 2, I have 2 times 2 squared minus 3 times 2 plus 4. 2 squared is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Negative 3 times 2 is minus 6 plus 4. 8 minus 6 is 2, and 2 plus 4 is 6. Are those two answers the same? No. So my function here is neither. Questions on odd, even, neither? Everybody's okay? Okay, when we talk about evaluating, all right, I'm going to talk about a couple different things. I'm going to change 12 and 13 to different problems because I did things a little differently on the test. But if you are evaluating, guys, and they have a number that they want you to plug in, there's a couple ways you can do this. Some of you plug the number into each function and then subtract it. Some of you plug the functions in together. I like to do the functions together first. So if I have p minus f, my p function is negative 4x squared. What is it? Negative 4x squared minus 3 minus my f function is 2x squared plus 3x plus 4. I have to distribute this negative sign first. Now I can combine like terms. So I'm going to have negative 4x squared minus 3 minus 2x squared minus 3x minus 4. Questions on that? So I have negative 4x and negative 2x gives me negative 6x squared. I have a minus 3x, and then I have a minus 3 and a minus 4 gives me minus 7. Everybody agree? Now they told me they want me to plug in the number negative 2. So I'm now going to evaluate this using negative 2. Negative 2 squared is 4, so negative 6 times 4 is negative 24. Negative 3 times negative 2 is plus 6 minus 7. What's negative 24 plus 6? Negative 24 plus 6, what is it?
Negative 18.
Yep, so I have negative 18 minus 7 gives me
Negative 25.
negative 25. Good. All right, they told me subtract these two functions and then evaluate using negative 2. In this next example, they're telling me to add the two functions, but leave it in terms of what? X. You should have an X in your answer. So they're saying take the H function, which is negative 5x cubed plus 4x, plus the P function, which is negative 4x squared minus 3. I don't have anything to distribute because I have a positive in the middle, so let's rewrite our parentheses. Minus 4x squared minus 3. Now write your exponents in descending order. So negative 5x cubed, negative 4x squared, plus 4x minus 3. That is your final answer, guys, because they're telling you leave it in terms of x. They're saying do not plug any number in, just leave it in terms of x. Do you guys see the difference between those two questions? Yes or no? Okay. Lastly, what do they want me to do with H and F? They're stuck together. They want me to multiply them. So I'm going to take negative 5x cubed plus 4x times 2x squared plus 3x plus 4. 2x squared plus 3x plus 4. Big multiplication problem. Take the first term and distribute it to everything. So I have negative 5 times 2 is negative 10. X cubed and x squared gives me x to the 5th. Negative 5x cubed to 3x. Negative 5 and 3 is negative 15. X to the third and x gives me x to the 4th. Negative 5x cubed to 4 gives me negative 20x cubed. Questions? Now we take 4x. So 4x to 2x squared. 4 times 2 is 8. And I have x to the third. 4x to 3x. 4 times 3 is 12. And I have x squared. And then 4x to 4 gives me plus 16x. Now what do they want me to do after I've combined them all? Do I have anything that I can combine like terms-wise? Anything?
Yes, you can combine some of them.
Okay, so let's do that. So I have negative 10x to the 5th. Do I have anything that's x to the 4th? Just the negative 15, right? All right, what about negative 20 and positive 8? Correct. So negative 20 plus 8 is negative 12, right? Then I have plus 12x squared plus 16x. Now what do they want me to do? Plug what number in? What number do they want me to plug in for all of the x's?
1.
1. So I have negative 10 times 1 to the 5th power minus 15 times 1 to the 4th power minus 12 times 1 to the 3rd power plus 12 times 1 to the 2nd power plus 16 times 1. What happens to all these ones, guys? All right, what's negative 10 and negative 15? Negative 25 minus 12 plus 16. What's negative 20?
The 12s cancel out.
They do cancel out. So what's negative 25 plus 16?
Negative 9.
Negative 9. Good. Big long problem, but nothing you guys can't handle. Now these next ones, okay, look, I want you to change these to okay. Everybody change those? What does this question say? What is this asking you to do? Every version of every test will have something like this, so make sure you guys understand. What is this question asking you to do? This is different.
Plug P into F and plug 2 into the X's.
No. Remember I said work inside out. They're telling you to plug 2 into the P function. And once you get your answer for that, then what do?
Plug in the answer.
You plug that answer into the F. So the first thing we're going to do is find P of 2. Remember I told you to work inside, where? Work inside out. Very important that you work from the inside out. So I'm going to do P of 2 first. What's my P function? Negative 4x squared minus 3. All right, so negative 4x squared minus 3. Negative 4 times 2 squared minus 3. This is 4, right? So negative 4 times 4 is negative 16 minus 3 gives me negative 19. Now what do I do with this number? I plug it into the F function. My F function is what's my F function? 2x squared. Oh, this is going to be ugly. 2x squared plus 3x plus 4. And they want me to plug in what number? Negative 19. I'm not going to give you something like this tomorrow. I just made this problem up. Understanding what I'm doing, that's the most important thing. Do you guys understand what I'm doing? Yes or
Yes.
no? Okay, so 19 times 19 is 361. So this is 361 times 2 gives me 722 minus 19 times 3 is 57 plus 4. So 722 minus 57 is 665 plus 4 is what? 669. So when you see a problem like this where the letters are stuck together, this is telling you, remember, work from the inside out. Take this value, plug it into that function. Then once you get your answer, plug it into the other one. So when you see something like this, what do they want me to do first with -1? What's the first thing I need to do? I need to plug it into the p function. So my p is -4x squared minus 3. So -4x squared minus 3. I'm going to evaluate using -1. So -4 times -1 squared minus 3. -1 squared is 1. So -4 times 1 is -4 minus 3 gives me -7. Now they want me to take that value right here and plug it in to the g function. What is your g function? G is 2 over -7x plus 3. 2 over -7x plus 3. I'm finding g of -7 here. So 2 over -7 times -7 plus 3. What's -7 times -7? 49. Right? Plus 3 gives me what? What's 49 plus 3?
52.
52.
51.
Good. And then can we simplify that? 2 over 52 becomes 1 over 26. But you guys need to be aware of what this question is asking. This is p as a function of f. That means take whatever number is closest, work from the inside out, plug that number into that function, get your answer, then plug that into the next one. You guys good? Okay, let's talk about inverses then. Inverses algebraically. There's steps you have to follow in order to get these correct. The first thing I need to do, and you guys need to show me these steps when you do this, first thing you need to do is cross out the f of x, h of x, whatever, and make it a y. Then what do? We switch the values of x and y. So this becomes x equals the cube root of y minus 3. I want to get y all by itself now. We're trying to isolate y. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides. So I have x plus 3 equals the cube root of y. What's the opposite of the cube root? Cubing a number. So if I cube this side, then I have to cube this whole side. So this becomes y equals x plus 3 cubed. And you can leave it like that. You don't have to multiply it all out. But the last thing you need to do is change this to f negative 1 of x equals x plus 3 quantity cubed. You have to have the inverse notation in your answer. Very important. All right, moving along. Again, same thing. First thing I'm going to do is cross off my function notation, write a y. Now I'm going to switch the variables. So x equals 1 over y minus 2. I'm trying to isolate the y. I want to get y all by itself. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides. I get x plus 2 equals 1 over y. Y is by itself, but I don't want it in a denominator, so I have to multiply both sides by y, so it'll cancel out. You don't have to distribute here, because remember, you want to get y all by itself. So I have y times x plus 2 equals 1. Well, how do I get y by itself? Divide by x plus 2. So you have y equals 1 over x plus 2. And the last thing we have to do is change into our function notation. You have to have that as your answer, guys, or else I'm taking points off. Gotta have inverse f negative 1 of x. Questions? No one's saying anything. All right. Is there a squared one on here? All right, I want to change this so you guys have an example. Change this to squared. All right, so we're going to cross out h of x, make it a y. Switch the variables. So I have x equals 2 times y squared plus 3. Our job is to isolate the y, get it all by itself. So the first thing I'm going to do is subtract 3 from both sides. So I have x minus 3 equals 2y squared. Still trying to get y by itself, so I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So I have y squared equals x minus 3 over 2. How do you get y all by itself? What do I have to do to both sides? Take
Square
what?
root.
Take the
Square
square root. So if I take the square root of one side, I have to take it of the other. When I take the square root myself, I put the house on top. What goes in front of my answer? Plus or minus. If you guys have the square root, if you have the fourth root, if you have the sixth root, anything that's even, you have to have plus or minus in front. We didn't do that on cube root because that's not an even number. Then the last thing I would do is say f negative 1 of x equals plus or minus x minus 2 over 3. All right, moving along. First thing you do is cross that out, make it a y. Switch your variables. So x equals negative 4y plus 1. I want to get y all by itself. We're going to isolate the y. So I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. X minus 1 equals negative 4y. Still want y all by itself, so I'm going to divide both sides by negative 4. So y equals x minus 1 divided by negative 4. And the last thing I need to do is replace y with f negative 1 of x. That means here is my inverse, x minus 1 over negative 4. You can put the x minus 1 in parentheses. You don't have to. How we doing? Okay? All right, cross off g of x, make it a y. So I now have x equals 7y plus 18 over 2. There's a lot to do in this problem. We want to get y all by itself. So first thing I'm going to do is get rid of that denominator. Multiply both sides by 2. So 2x equals 7y plus 18. Still trying to get y all by itself, so let's subtract 18 from both sides. 2x minus 18 equals 7y. Still, y is not completely alone, so we're going to divide both sides by 7, and you're left with y equals 2x minus 18 over 7. And then my last step would be to write this as inverse function notation. So I have f negative 1 of x equals 2x minus 18 over 7. Super easy, this one. Change this to a y, so switch your variables. X equals y plus 3. I'm trying to get y by itself. Subtract 3 from both sides. Y equals x minus 3. Last step would be to say, whoops, got to have this in inverse function notation. So f negative 1 of x equals x minus 3. I'm going along here because no one's saying anything. So we're going to change this to a y. Switch your variables. You have x equals negative y plus 3. Subtract 3 from both sides. So you get x minus 3 equals negative y. We don't ever leave variables negative. So divide by negative 1. And you get y equals negative x plus 3. Change that to function notation. So f negative 1 of x equals negative x plus 3. How we doing?
Pretty good.
Okay. All right, last one. Changing f of x to y. We switch our variables, so x equals 4y. Get y by itself, divide by 4. Y equals x divided by 4. Rewrite that as function notation. F negative 1 of x equals x over 4. And that, my friends, is what we need to know. That is what we need to know. I know this video is long, but you guys will be well prepared if you go back through it. I think you should pull up your review go back through it and make sure you know how to do all of this because our test is tomorrow.